can you tell us just a little bit so people get a little understanding of kind of what it takes to really make quality olive oil?
Absolutely. Well, let's
Welcome
start
to Behind the Frame, where we go beyond the LinkedIn bios and Instagram highlight reels to talk about what really happens when you're building something from scratch. I'm Jay Duffy, co-founder of Frame Wealth Partners, business owner, husband, dad, and guy who still wonders if winging it counts as a legitimate growth strategy. Spoiler, it does sometimes. Join me and my amazing co-hosts, Morgan Watson and Annette Quigley, as we sit down with someone who's built a business or is knee-deep in the messy middle of it. And we talk about the real stuff, the pivots, the late nights, the wins no one celebrated, and the lessons no one warned them about. So grab a coffee or something stronger. We're going behind the frame. Welcome back to Behind the Frame. This is episode 19. And Morgan, we got a great guest today. I know you're excited.
Absolutely. Anything food related gets me excited. You know that. So I'm looking forward to it.
So before we get into that, why don't we kick off with the weekend win? Anything for
the Watson family?
Yeah, the Watson family.
Yeah, it was interesting. So one of the first weekends in forever, we didn't travel for my daughter's lacrosse. So she was up in Rhode Island, and we're like, we'll just watch it on ESPN. Yeah. That'll make it easy. So I had a whole weekend to myself, started cleaning out the garage. I was talking to my wife about what we were having today on the podcast. I'm like, olive oils and all of this. And she's like, we hadn't had souvlaki in a long time. Oh. So I pulled out the grill, made a huge thing of chicken souvlaki and grilled veggies. Went through all the olive oil and everything. So it was a good weekend, kind of nice and relaxed. Got the garage, got the canoe hanging from the ceiling.
Oh, there you go.
Now, we're not parking in the garage yet. We're going to give it a couple days to see if it doesn't stay. Yeah, there's a high probability of that. But yeah, it was a great weekend. So it was nice, easy, and did some good cooking.
Awesome.
How about the Duffys?
There's a couple interesting. I don't know if one's a weekend win. One is a kind of a weekend disaster.
Okay.
But it was good. My son James, Dmitri, he's big into baseball right now. He's only 10, but he was 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs and
big slugger.
Yeah, and they won in extra innings. So it was a big win for
Right.
Thank God he got his mom's athleticism.
Oh, exactly. Well, it drives me nuts. I'm a lacrosse player, so watching baseball is like watching paint dry for me. So it's not fun. The weekend disaster for us happened at 8:30 last night, when water started dripping from our ceiling.
Oh.
And I had not taken a shower yet. So I had to go to the 24-hour gym and take a shower at night, which was fun. But good news is everything's fixed.
Well,
The plumber came over at 8 in the morning. It was a simple toilet issue, but thankfully it is fixed, and we will have a big communion celebration on next Sunday for our daughter. So as my wife likes to know, there's nothing ever small. There's never a small party. So this will be a big party.
There you go.
We got to make sure that the house is in good order before that big party. So it was good. Let's introduce our guests.
Absolutely.
So today we're joined by someone who took a product most people overlook and turned it into a premium brand built on quality, sourcing, and what I noticed, attention to detail. Dmitri Komninos is the founder of Dmitri Olive Oil, where he's focused on bringing authentic, high-quality olive oil to market in a way that actually educates consumers on what they're actually buying. What I appreciate about this story is it's not just about the product, it's about the discipline, the patience, and building something the right way in a space where most people assume there's no differentiation. So, Dmitri, I'm excited to have you on.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you both.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, I don't, not to put you on the spot, but do you have a weekend win or a weekend disaster?
Yeah, I mean, this past weekend was just a normal weekend. Can I talk about the previous weekend?
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Win-win. Opening day at the farmers markets, Saturday and Sunday, and we had record-breaking sales. I mean, the weather was phenomenal. And then Sunday afternoon, Greek Easter.
Yeah. Oh, you can't beat that.
The lamb was amazing. I was working all weekend, so I did cheat a little bit on the food. I usually prep everything because I love cooking.
Yeah.
Every Greek Easter, but I call my buddies over at Jimmy's Seafood,
There you go.
and they cater more of it besides the lamb. I cook the lamb,
Okay.
and everything was phenomenal as always from Jimmy's.
It's so
They
good.
use my olive oil for everything.
There you
Oh,
go.
really?
Yeah.
There you go. I love it. Well, I love jumping in right into the origin story. So can you walk us through, how did this business get started?
Yeah. Early 2000s, I was still in high school. I graduated 05 from Delaney. Early 2000s, my stepfather, Dmitri Olive Oil, he inherited the main olive farm that you see on the label there from his father. And he started importing the olive oil, passing it out to local, restaurants, friends. And he's been in the restaurant business his whole life.
Wow.
And obviously, nobody has in this area has tasted anything pure like this, especially in the, when I came here in the 90s from Greece, I came here in 98. We used to go out to eat at restaurants and they bring you like some oil that, it was like for your car, you know what I mean? I couldn't eat it, because I grew up with this stuff.
Right.
Nice,
Right.
So, long story short, my stepdad started importing for personal use and passing it out to friends. And then in 05, we imported it for the first time for commercial use.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're actually celebrating 20 years in business this year because
Wow,
in 06
congrats.
is thank you very much. It's been a long
Yeah.
adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Goodness.
So it's you were telling us earlier, like back home in Greece, when someone passes away, everybody inherits farms.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
so you got a lot of family or close family that import all this for you, correct?
No, we import it ourselves.
I mean, well, I'm sorry, they're producing.
yeah.
the olives.
So what we do actually is we go there every winter, and this I give most of the credit to my stepdad.
Okay.
He's in charge of going there twice a year to produce our early harvest in early fall, and then our normal harvest November, December, January, and then we ship it from ourselves to ourselves.
Okay.
We belong to a co-op where we press our olives and package it, and then we ship it here.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So for a lot of people, that my wife's one of these. They wonder, kind of, olive oil's olive oil, right?
Right.
There's obviously a huge difference between just olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. Can you tell us just a little bit so people get a little understanding of kind of what it takes to really make quality olive oil?
Absolutely. Well, let's start with what extra virgin olive oil is. Extra virgin olive oil is a couple things. It should be single sourced.
Yep.
From, in my opinion, from one farm.
Okay.
The acidity of it needs to be below 0.8%. In our case, it's usually 0.3 and below, way below the standard.
Wow.
We also take it a step further by not filtering it. It's unfiltered. You can see by how cloudy it is.
Oh, yeah.
We leave the sediment in there. We are the first company in definitely in Maryland, not maybe the East Coast, to import unfiltered olive oil. When we first imported it, there were questions about why unfiltered. Now you get like unfiltered beer from like microbreweries.
Yeah.
Well, my grandfather used to say to me, if you filter olive oil, you rip its heart out. And like you got, all the nutrients and vitamins.
Yeah.
And lastly, the high polyphenol count. When we did the testing for our normal harvest, it was around 800 polyphenols. And when we did it for the early harvest from unripened olives, it was around 1,000. So that's very high.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the quality speaks for itself. When you taste it, you know what you're getting, a good quality product.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I guess I just want to ask a basic question. Why olive oil for you?
Yeah, it was a no-brainer. I mean, the farms have been in my family for 200 years.
Yeah.
On my mother's side, we have farms on the neighboring village where my stepdad's village is,
Okay.
his farms, and I grew up with it. I remember like my grandfather having the olive oil in the basement and making sure that every time we pick and press it, we bring it from Sparta to our home in Athens,
Yeah.
and then he would give it to his friends and neighbors. It's just a big part of my life. I grew up around it. Every Easter, we used to go to the house in the village and have Easter there.
Yeah.
I used to, experience it firsthand, watching my family members pick it.
Yeah. I think you were mentioning to us earlier, like when you go out and you have not your olive oil,
Right.
How, like,
Yeah, it's.
how, like, is it a visceral reaction?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
oh my
laughing
God.
because we just took a trip to Anguilla with my wife and kids for
Okay.
spring break, and everywhere we go, no matter if it's in the country or outside of the country,
Yeah.
we take Alba with us. Because
Yeah.
we do it because also I can take pictures and post them on social. But my wife knows me by now. She'll she'll even be like, "Hey, are you bringing olive oil?" 'Cause everything else is
Kids,
not
wallet, keys, olive oil.
good. Yeah,
We're good.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's part of our packing list.
Yeah.
So from a business perspective, then, What did that first 30 to 60 days look like when you started the business?
So that was quite a time because I remember what happened is I graduated high school '05. I was 17. I went to school early.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the short story of this. And I went to Greece for uh, 8 months, and those months I worked on the farm just to like as a young man to understand how you pick and press it with my stepdad and see the whole process. Because I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, I want to be hands on from the
Right.
start. See how when you farm it, pick it, press it, and then the importing part was a lot of paperwork, obviously, but it was that was the easiest. Producing the product and being out there every day picking olives, that is hard.
Well, it's
Yep.
gotta make you appreciate it so much
Exactly.
more.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I everybody who asks me, why is this $30? I can go to I don't know, Sam's Club and get it for $15.99. I say, come and pick it with me in Greece.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you why it's $30.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow.
But yeah, the first 60 days, well, once we got back here, it was all about hitting the streets. I started doing Greek festivals, farmers markets, and that's how we got the product out.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's when we still do that now, and we do wholesale. We sell to a lot of restaurants here in Maryland.
Do
And,
you
Really?
yeah, and Virginia.
Well, these are probably going to be the only restaurants we go to.
Yeah, exactly.
Your
Yeah, I
closest
want
one to
the
here
list.
is Sammy's. Sammy's Trattoria.
Okay.
in
Oh,
Mount
yeah,
House.
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Sammy loves my olive oil. He
There
uses
you
it for
go.
everything. And he's Italian, but he loves
Yeah,
Greek olive oil.
he loves Greek
know,
olive oil.
Sammy knows good quality.
Exactly.
How about Yasu over here? Do they use it?
Yasu, I think they buy it for personal use.
Okay.
They don't buy it for the restaurant, but they for personal use.
I love that.
We're there enough. We'll get that changed.
Yeah, yeah. Go in there and tell them.
Exactly.
So you said it's interesting because, we deal with a lot of different businesses between service industry, manufacturing, and importing product. A lot of people would think that would be the tough part, trying to get the product from Greece here. You said that wasn't as difficult as some of the other stuff.
Yeah. So I went to University of Baltimore for international business, and every project and paper I did on my you had to do. Take a business to do I did it all in my business. It was like a no-brainer for me.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy.
When we were doing importing, exporting, I was like, I don't know if I should come to this class. But no, it was fun. I loved it. But my teachers knew I was in the business.
Sure.
Some of them would see me at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was tough because what I always did in the first 4 years or 5, I always had a job.
Yeah.
So I saved all the money that I made from my festivals, farmers markets, and the business. I try to save as much as possible, and I always worked in restaurants, bussing tables.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would work at restaurants that I sold my olive oil to, the prime rib, the black olive.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. Then
Wow.
my last job I had was at the Black Olive. That's where I met my wife, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So
how many years did you do that?
what?
Work.
Yeah, I believe the last job I had before fully committing to my business was the Black Olive. No, actually, I'm sorry. I worked at the Prime Rib for a month before I got married.
Okay.
Yeah. Before I got engaged. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's
I'm
okay.
trying to. Sorry, it's just so far back. Yeah.
Well,
the
you got to
Prime Rib.
purchase that ring, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
make
Oh, I
some
had already
cash.
bought it, but
Yeah, exactly.
they actually called me to help them out. It
Really?
was they would call me whenever they needed help.
Oh,
Fun fact: the Prime Rib called me the day of my graduation from Delaney High School to go work. I graduated high school it was at Towson University the
Yeah.
morning. I went to the Prime Rib to work that night, and then I went to Zorba's restaurant on Eastern Avenue to celebrate till like 3 a.m.
Wow.
after my shift at the Prime Rib.
Gee.
Yeah.
So working hard is not an issue for you. I take it.
No.
Yeah.
I'll work 7 days a week. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Wow. I love that. What have you found to be maybe the biggest obstacle with starting the business? Maybe it's a big obstacle today. What have you seen?
Well, balancing that time between business and your family.
Yeah.
It's the hardest part, especially when your business depends so much on you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
It's funny. I had that conversation with my wife yesterday. I'm constantly looking for help, and you can't find. I don't want to say you can't find good help these days. You can't find help that is constant, like consistent.
Well,
Yeah, it has the passion for what you're trying to build.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the tough part.
That's what I was gonna say. Like you can always find quality employees. It's just, are they gonna have the same level of passion and grit that you have
Right.
for your business?
Right.
that's hard to find because it's not theirs.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
that's where kind of leadership becomes a big
yeah,
proponent.
and I try to do as much as I can, bonuses, and
Yeah.
I pay well for what
Yeah.
we do for
Yeah.
selling at the farmers markets or wholesale, but it's still that there's still that issue of like, okay, finding the right people to represent.
And it's tough because as you try to grow, you've got to get out of the day-to-day work, so to
Right.
speak, and get more into the logistics and the planning of the business. And
Yep.
that's really hard, we find, with business owners, is when do we make that switch? And there's always that fear of, if I switch, what if it doesn't go
Right.
the way we want it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. For example, I used to do the Ken Island Farmers Market myself every Thursday year round for like 10 straight years.
Okay.
The last like 3-4 years, I've been sending people, and I've been popping in once in the blue moon to see my regulars. And they're so happy to see me. They're like, "What happened to you?" I'm like, "I'm still here. As long as you see this on the table, I'm still here."
Still here.
I just have kids now, so I
Yeah.
gotta pick them up and drop them off at school.
Exactly. It was
know
more
how
to
it
the
is.
story now. Yeah.
And, yeah.
I always like talking about, building out the brand and all this stuff here. Olive oil is everywhere. How did you approach standing out?
Yeah. Quality. I mean, that was our number one thing since day one. When my stepdad and I sat down and we talked about, importing our own olive oil, then we said, okay, what happens when you scale up and you need more olive oil? Because that's going to be a problem eventually. So anyway, we planted more trees, so we have more production now, but we're also able to buy from our co-op, which uses the same standards and quality. And basically, if you had the farm next to me, I'll say, hey, how much did you produce? We'll buy your
Oh,
olive
wow.
oil and test it before we bottle it and everything.
That's awesome.
But we focused on quality. We're not going to import anything less than what you see here. Pure, unfiltered, first go pressed, extra virgin, single sourced.
Wow.
Well, it's interesting as you say that, because again, when you're service industry, manufacturing, and now kind of product import, especially on the agricultural side, that, all right, if we want to expand, we need more olives. We'll plant trees.
Right.
Great, but that's how many years down the road, right?
Yeah, it takes 8 to 10 years for it.
Right. So having that kind of understanding, all right, we've got to get that for down the road, but we got to find these other sources
Right.
and maintain that quality. That's got to be, I guess, having boots on the ground in the areas is a big
Absolutely.
differentiator.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm so thankful to our co-op in Greece. They do a phenomenal job, and all the farmers in that region, I give the farmers anywhere in the world, but specifically the olive farms there, because I know, how hard it is to produce this product. I give them so much credit. It's not easy having this type of,
Can't be.
yeah.
How much education for the consumer do you need to do, because you're selling quality here?
Right. It's very important to us to educate our consumers, and it's very important my employees to educate the consumers, because otherwise people just walk by the table, or they did just
Buy
even
on
brief it
price.
online. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to educate people. I constantly get new customers that are like, why this? Why your olive oil?
Sure.
And again, going back to what I told you earlier, single source, extra virgin, pure,
Yeah. You can't beat
unfiltered.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? It's like, it's like, would you put crappy gasoline in your car? Or
Right.
good
Yeah.
gasoline?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's
Your
something you put in your body is
Exactly.
is
You want to treat your body that, just like you would treat a brand new car that you just bought. Or it should be vice versa, really.
Right.
You should treat your body better than the car.
Exactly.
Well, and the health trends, we're seeing so much more now about, the non-processed oils compared to, where, again, extra virgin, non-processed, non-refined,
But right.
or rather non-refined, and the health benefits that has, as opposed to the vegetable oils and all that other
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's I actually, speaking of the other oils, that's the major problem I have with wholesale accounts. When I walk into a restaurant, and if the chef doesn't make the decision, because the chefs want this product,
Yeah.
they want pure. But if the chef is like, hey, I can't buy this product because what I'm buying now is like olive oil mixed with canola oil and
Right.
a bunch of other seed oils, I can't compete with that. I can't compete
Sure.
with that price. But
Yeah.
the owner of the restaurant is like, hey, I don't care. I want you to, food cost is my number one concern, not quality. Then I can't compete with that. I walk out. I say,
Yeah.
hey, let me know if you decide to change your mind.
No,
I don't chase them.
no, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Again, you're putting yourself at a different level. I
Right,
think that's
exactly.
important.
I'd rather sell
Well,
less.
I wouldn't say you're putting yourself at a level, but you have standards that you're upholding.
Correct.
I think, which is
Absolutely,
really
yeah.
important.
Yep.
How difficult is it managing kind of supply line and inventory when you've got to grow it, process it, ship it to get here? How difficult is it?
Yeah, the key is to get the olive oil here in the winter colder months.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that. When let's say you go to a major retailer and you buy olive oil, you don't know how long that olive oil sat on that ship in the hot month of August,
Yeah.
coming across 30 days on the boat. That's how long it takes, 25 to 30 days, and then sits at the port in the hot weather in those 20, 30 foot, 40 foot containers. They're all metal and
Yeah.
in plastic, the microplastics going in. So again, we only use glass and tin cans. Everything is approved by the European Union and FDA. So we don't ship anything after March to the States.
Wow.
Yeah, and if I do, it's because it's going directly to like a wholesaler or something.
Really?
Okay.
But for like direct to consumer, we have everything here from November all the way to March because the colder months and the heat doesn't affect the oil.
That makes sense.
And our warehouse is temperature controlled
Yeah.
in our
Okay.
facility. Yeah.
We talked about scaling for a second. I know that's probably something important for you. What does your current growth strategy look like right now?
Right now, I'm looking to purchase more farms in Southern Greece
Okay.
that are already mature and producing.
Yeah.
That's a very good possibility. But also just having that good relationship with my olive farmers.
Yeah.
As far as like the edible olives, like these guys here.
Yep.
And we don't produce that much edible olives. We only produce on our family's farms the olive oil.
Olive oil,
Yeah.
okay.
we
So
produce
you're-
the Koroneki olive.
Is that a different olive?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the Koroneki olive and Athinoya olive. We grow two types.
You
of
try
trees.
and say that.
Yeah, not a chance.
And then
I'll call it the eating olive and the pressing olive.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's one way to go, but also having a key relationship with the farmers there
Yeah.
and just fair trade. I give them what they deserve as far as monetary value.
I think it's
So curious, what's the difference between the olives you use for the oils compared to the ones that you eat?
So we use a Koroneki olive and Athinoya olive for our olive oil.
Yep.
It's mostly Koroneki. We don't have that many Athinoya trees. But it's the Koroneki olive. If you Google it right now, you'll see it's the number one, the healthiest olive.
Okay.
And produce that, and Athinoya produces the highest polyphenol count, which you want that in your body, for everything, anti-inflammatory, gut health, lowering, mitigation of diabetes, everything.
wow.
Yeah.
It's what
Fights cancer.
It's the Koneki.
Cancer cells, yeah, the Koroneki and the Athinoya, yeah.
I'll give you
Spell that.
$20 to spell that right now. I got $20 in my pocket right now for you to spell that. All right, let's keep this rolling. I love these answers that we're getting here, and I want to hit on a little bit more of the entrepreneur mindset. We all have this as part of our business journey, but has there been a really low point in
Yeah.
that you can remember?
I remember, I think it was it 07 or 08 with the housing market?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And I was in college, but I was working at restaurants and I remember cash flow was bad that year. People were not buying
Oh,
high-end olive oil.
no, no.
And I
They
was
pulled back on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It was just tough to do business those 2 years. Those were probably rougher than the years when we started the business.
Did you do anything different in those years? Was it just kind of gritting out?
Yeah, I mean, I went to the bank trying to get a loan,
Yeah.
and they denied me just
Wow.
because how young I was, I think,
Yeah,
and just
sure.
just banks were just not giving anything out.
No, they weren't.
So
Back then.
yeah, so we got private loan.
Yeah.
And we paid it off. Everything was fine, obviously, but we had to get a private loan from a private individual.
Yeah.
And God bless them. That really helped us, and
Yeah.
it boosted us to get through. I'm not gonna give up. You're gonna need a lot more than the economy.
Well, I
to
think,
back-
I
to
think
out.
it's I think it's what our viewers need to hear, because again, this is all about inspiring new entrepreneurs in the world, and you got to have a really
Yeah.
gritty mindset when you
yeah,
start a business.
absolutely.
It's
Well-
you got to burn the boats and
Yeah.
and go for it.
Yeah, and forget that 40-hour week. You're going to be working 100 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be working.
Yeah.
I mean, I put my kids to bed and I go back to work sometimes in
Yeah.
my warehouse. You know,
Yeah.
Wow.
working the forklift. It's just whatever needs to be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not above it.
No,
I love
I'll,
that.
you know, I do it all.
I love it.
I do it all.
I love it.
So when looking back, so when did it kind of go from, all right, we're doing this job to we've got a real business. It's starting to grow, and now you're kind of seeing not just surviving but growing, kind of thriving. What did that transition look like, or did you have a pivotal moment like, hey, I think we've actually made it, or at least on the path to it?
Yeah, I think it was. I think for me, I would say right after I graduated college. So I think it was around 2011. It just, I had a great year with Greek festivals that year. It just like went up, just the numbers. It was great. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Because at first I was like, you know, Greeks might not want to buy this product because they import it for themselves. They have it. They, you know, go to other Greek stores and buy it. But it's just, I think people appreciate the fact that, you know, I expanded the product line and I did infusions and flavors, and just they wanted to support me. Just like, oh, look, it's not like another Italian olive oil company that has 1 million infusions. No, this is like a young Greek kid just doing his own stuff in his own commercial kitchen, fully licensed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was it. You know, and we focused on getting a lot more farm to table restaurants. And I got to give credit to some chefs here. Spike, was Woodbury Kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad, Goss, that owns the food market, La Food Marqueta.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
So
yeah.
good.
Those guys, you know, still to this day buy my olive oil.
Really?
And I met them at the farmers markets, you know,
Yeah.
and they just came by, just, you know.
So that's great that you say, because I think a lot of times the public, we hear this farm to table and they think, well, that's just advertising. But
Yeah.
absolutely not. I mean, they're going to the markets, they're going to the farms, they're sourcing
Right.
everything
Local.
the right
To this
way.
day, one more. I'm sorry, John Shields. He owns Gertrude's down in Baltimore.
Yeah.
He even did a Greek night for us one night back then.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He had us, you know, give a speech and everything, and it was great. I mean, yeah, he was really, yeah, and he, since day one, he's used our olive oil.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone starting a product-based business?
Oh man,
It may be.
yeah.
We may not have enough time.
Yeah.
For all
No,
that
no,
advice, but-
I absolutely. Quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care what you're buying. If it's not good quality, well, you're gonna get a bad reputation.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell your friend. You're gonna tell your wife. You're gonna tell your cousin, your mother, whatever. The word's gonna get out. It's a bad
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So focus on quality. I know these days that's hard to do because a lot of the stuff you buy just made
Yeah.
cheaply, but quality.
How has, especially in this
So
current
true.
market, we're seeing so much with tariffs and changing every day.
Yeah.
Has that had a big impact on your business, or have y'all been able to kind of work through that?
No, absolutely. Tariffs did hit us 15% at first. I believe they're going down to 10% now, which I'm thankful for. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And I'll even take, you know, refunds if they do give it. I don't know if that's happening, but we actually for 10 years straight we didn't go up on olive oil at all. It was kind of like those 10 years where kind of, you know, glass was around the same price, labels, everything, you know. And then what happened is a couple years before the tariffs, I don't know if you remember, there was a huge problem in Spain. So Spain is the #1 producer of olive oil in the world.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
they produce
I-
the most volume.
Okay.
Yeah, the most
Okay.
volume. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So if Spain gets hit, you know, with the weather conditions they got hit that year, and they lost a lot of crop, that drives up olive oil up,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So we had to go up. Olive oil just got really expensive that year. So that's the only time we really went up on the olive oil over the years.
Okay.
And I only went up like 10% or 12%, something like that. And then a year or two later is when, or a couple of years later, when they announced the 15% tariff. I didn't go up for the 15% tariff because I was like, we just went up for for that issue. You just can't do that to your loyal customers. I've had customers for 20 years. You know, I think of that when I make decisions. You know, so I decided to eat the cost. I did not go up.
Wow.
But yeah, it's fine. You know, I'm not. You know, I've never been the type of business owner to complain.
Yep.
I just, you see the issue and you just
Solve the
pivot.
problem.
You pivot. Yeah.
Well, what I love is what I heard is just how you're thinking about the end consumer
Yeah.
first, your existing customer base,
Right.
and you care that you want to provide a quality product, and you don't want to outprice it to a
Right,
point where it's
exactly.
like not reasonable.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You want to, some of these customers, like they literally consider me like family member. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
I'm their olive oil guy.
Yeah.
I can't do that to my people. You know what I mean?
Right. I love that. Well, I think it's time for us to move into our hot or not section. And this is really just based about your industry. It'll be based around just being a business owner in itself. And your job is to really answer hot or not. So we have some verse questions. So like this versus this,
Okay.
not a hot or not, but feel free to say hot or not, and then, articulate anything else
Okay.
after that. Sound good?
Sounds good.
I got a verse question here. Premium pricing versus competing on price.
Say that again.
Premium pricing versus competing on price.
Premium pricing versus competing on pricing. So you mean what I prefer more? Is that
Yeah.
what we're doing
Yeah.
here? Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to understand.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I would say premium pricing.
Okay.
I don't compete much.
like
I feel like I'm in my own lane.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the high quality that I have.
I agree.
How about farmers markets versus e-commerce?
Ooh. My my gut tells me farmers markets.
Yeah.
E-commerce I love because it's a no-brainer. You're
Yep.
making profit, making money by just
Slow
selling
overhead.
online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love it.
But your heart and foundation.
Yeah,
is with
because
the farmers.
I'm a people's person. I
Yeah.
want to interact with you when you're buying my olive oil. I want you to ask me how the harvest was this year.
Right.
Yeah,
I want
right.
to talk to you.
Yeah.
It matters.
I
It
could
matters.
see
to me.
that.
Yeah.
I could see that. All right. Hot or not? Influencer marketing for your business.
Hot only because you have to.
Okay.
These influencers these days, they think they're worth more than what they are.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you. Sorry to all my friends I see on Facebook that are influencers, but come on.
I got you.
Let's tone it down a little bit.
How about raising outside capital?
Hot when you get to the level that you need to.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Once you should earn that.
I agree.
Yeah, you should
like
earn
that.
that.
Yeah.
Just because you've been in business for 5 years doesn't mean that you should, hit the stock market.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. How about kind of going viral on social media?
Yeah, that hot because again that will bring business in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what again? It's okay if I say the downside of that, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You're always going to have the people on the computer that are going to hate you for no reason, and
Right.
that brings in bad,
Yeah.
But
It's a
people-
double-edged sword.
Yeah, but you know what? If you don't have people hating you, then you haven't made it either. So that's
Right.
kind of like let's leave it at hot.
I agree. How about discounting? I think I know the answer to this, but discounting to drive value.
For wholesales.
For wholesale. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hot for wholesale.
Yeah. So can I give an example?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm gonna go back to my buddies at Jimmy's. They buy olive oil by the pallet for me.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm gonna
Sure.
give them a nice break.
Absolutely.
It's a wholesale account. Plus, they're buying a full pallet
Yeah.
versus a restaurant that buys from me in one case a month.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
How about knowing your background, working with family? And I say this because our assistant Elia, who you know well, full-blood Italian, married into a Greek family. So I laugh. She just sits around and argues with herself half the time. So how is it working with family?
Oh man, I love my family.
Yeah.
I love my family members. It depends on the day, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yes. No, but I couldn't have been as successful as I'm in this business without my mother, my stepdad, obviously, and my amazing wife.
Yeah.
And my stepbrother Homer, Omiros,
Yeah.
a Greek name in Virginia.
All right.
We don't call him Homer, but yeah. With family in my culture is key.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
I think having a good support system at home.
Yeah, right.
That
you can't do it alone.
You have that tough day. Someone that kind of you come home and they pick you up,
Yep.
dust you off, say get back out there.
Yep.
I get it.
Yep.
I get it. How about big retail distribution for your product?
At the moment, cold.
Okay.
Okay.
But retailers just want to beat you down. You
Yeah.
know, I've been down that road.
Yeah.
I'm open to it. If anybody's listening,
Yeah.
let me know. I'll sell you as much olive oil as you need.
Exactly.
But it's got to be the right price. You want this quality, you got to pay for it.
Right.
You know,
Totally get
I'm
it.
not. You know, I'm not giving it up for cheap just to say I got into,
Yeah.
you know, a grocery store that has 3,000 stores.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
I agree. Because again, you worry about bringing down the value of your product too.
Yeah. Exactly. Absolutely.
Trade shows, expos, anything like that?
Yeah. Those are all great. If you have the time and the manpower, you could get some good leads.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about hot or not seasonal promotions?
Hot.
Hot.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What are some of the ones that you do?
Actually, we did radio station WPAL.
Yeah.
The kids campaign. I sponsored that last Christmas, and I set up at Value Farms.
Okay.
Yeah, during the Christmas carols,
Yeah.
whatever, stuff like that. I mean, that's and then they send like a massive email out. I was on the radio.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Did like a little 30-minute commercial.
Okay.
But again, the lady that works there that, we did the marketing with, her daughter works for me part-time at my store.
No way.
Again, it's all family. Like,
Yeah.
it's, she wanted to help me out.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm open-minded to all that.
I love that.
So it sounds like you do a lot of kind of involvement in the community, both. It's really a two-way street. You're in the community through the farmers market and meeting the local chefs, but also you're giving back quite a bit to the community as well.
Absolutely. I sit on 2 farmers market boards. I sit at the Waverly Farmers Market Board and the Bel Air Farmers Market Board. And for those of you who, will go to a farmers market, if there's a board on that market, like thank a board member.
Yeah.
Don't thank me. I don't need.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it takes a lot of time out of our personal lives.
Sure.
And obviously we don't get paid to be on the boards. It's
No.
all volunteer.
Yeah.
To give time out of our families on top of the time we give for our business to
Right.
be on these boards to make sure things are running smoothly.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and I donate as much as I can to all the local Greek churches,
Yeah.
Hospitals, local Lutherville fire stations.
Yeah.
We actually walk in there every Christmas and give everybody olive oil.
Oh,
that's
that's awesome.
Yeah. Because it's near my store.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why I
yeah.
pick them.
Yeah.
But anybody has any anybody that wants me to donate olive oil to for our first responders, please call me.
Oh,
During COVID, we went down to University of Maryland and gave it out to all the nurses and doctors.
Really?
Yeah. Just as a small thank you. Again, like I don't think I've even put it on social media. Like, I don't care.
no.
It's out of my heart.
No,
Yeah.
I totally get that. The one thing I don't know if I saw it on the website, but do you have like a subscription model?
We
for-
do, yeah. Actually, well, thank you for asking for that. That's
Yeah.
great marketing. I was on the phone with my website guy yesterday about this.
Yeah.
We're trying to tweak it up a little bit, but yeah, you can have olive oil delivered monthly to your house. Just
Okay.
you sign up. We're trying to work out some kinks, but we've been doing it for a couple of years now,
Okay.
and we're just trying to fix the issues,
Sure.
with that, because it's kind of like a new phase for us.
Yeah.
I've been getting some really good feedback from customers who have signed up,
Okay.
but also run their own e-commerce sites, and they sell other stuff.
Right.
But it's
That's awesome.
yeah, they do that as well, and they've been giving me some pointers, so
Oh,
I'm trying
cool.
to fix it a little bit.
There you
But
go.
a couple months it'll be good.
Curious
Alright.
question.
Yeah.
Forgive this, kind of off topic a little
Yeah.
bit, but any difference in use or longevity from olive oil in a bottle as opposed to the tin can?
Yeah, no. The biggest difference is you don't want to buy it in plastic.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
you want to
microplastics.
buy it in glass.
Yep.
Or can.
Okay.
Yeah, the can is specially coated on the inside for the olive oil.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not just it's.
But does it need, once open, does it need to be transferred to something to stop
No,
oxygenating to it or no?
no. Actually, the can is actually better because no sunlight goes through it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll hear everybody say, "Oh, buy your olive oil in a dark glass."
Yeah.
Sure, that's
Yeah.
if you're buying it from the grocery store. I choose to do clear glass because our olive oil doesn't see the sunlight.
Okay.
We keep it in our,
Yeah.
in boxes in our warehouse.
Sure. Sure.
But if you're buying it at a grocery store where the fluorescent light hits it 24/7,
yeah.
it's not good for the olive oil. And we have a wraparound label that protects 80% of it.
80% of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But the difference is that I want my customer to see the quality of the oil by looking at the color, the unfilteredness. when you bottle it in a dark glass, in my opinion, you're hiding something.
Okay.
And that's for all those you big
Okay.
olive oil
Gotcha.
companies out
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Why does
got
it look
you,
like
we
why
got
is
you.
it like a bad looking yellow
So,
color?
in
Yeah,
the
exactly.
can, once it's open, do you have to seal it somehow?
No, you just our cans you just leave it like that. Use it as needed because
Okay.
our can when it pops up this high, you untwist
Gotcha.
it and you twist it back on. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. So, quick question: bread hits the table.
Yep.
Olive oil immediately, or wait?
Olive oil immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Add cheese and other things to the olive oil, or are you a straight olive oil?
No,
guy?
I'm a purist.
You're a
Straight
purist.
up.
All right.
Now, I
Because
love.
I know you mentioned Sammy's, and
Yeah,
let me tell you,
so he does a mixture with my olive oil. You've seen
Yeah,
it, right? It's
yeah.
my
phenomenal.
kids
So good.
will go through 6
Yeah.
loaves of bread before the meal's ordered.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
One of my employees, Mariah,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
been with me for like 4 years. She literally goes there with her family just to eat that. She told me. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
she's like, we love the food at Shane's, but she's like, your olive oil with their
Bread.
seasonings
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right. We're gonna move into our last segment. Plead the fifth.
Okay.
Morgan, you want to hit on what we're due here?
So we're going to ask you a series of questions. You don't know how many or what they are.
Okay.
You have to answer every question but one. You can plead the fifth on one, but only one.
Okay.
But you don't know how
Oh
many
God.
questions.
All right.
So be careful. Don't jump too
It
soon.
won't be that bad.
No.
It'll be fun. One thing about the food industry most people don't realize.
I think the regular consumers don't realize how much food is cut and processed. Again, like in our case here, the olive oil, right? When you go to a restaurant, they're not. I would say 7 out of 10 times they're not using real 100% olive oil.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Business decision you regret.
Business decision I regret. Oh man, that's a tough one. Okay, hold on. Business decision I regret. Oh, okay. Not expanding and moving out of my smaller spot in the city sooner.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of like waited. My 5-year lease was up on Biddle Street, and we outgrew that place in
Yeah.
the first 3 years.
Oh, really?
And I waited another 2 years. I did like month to month until I found my spot here at Timonium, which I love.
Okay.
I should have came out here just to begin with.
Just to begin with.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I had that opportunity because a good friend of mine, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you know, Michelle Granola,
Yeah.
her stuff is everywhere.
Okay.
She was telling me about my space where I'm at now. She's the reason why I'm in Timonium. She's
Oh,
like, you
nice.
got to move up there. She's like, you're going to kill it. Yeah.
All right. How about this? Something behind the scenes of your industry that would surprise people.
Okay. People will be like, whoa.
Yeah,
Well,
I didn't realize that.
People walk into my store all the time and they think that just the front part, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like if we have time and they ask me questions, I say, why don't I just take you back and show you? And I walk them back to the commercial kitchen and they see us making the infusions. And then I walk them back to the warehouse and they're like, they all go like this. Whoa. Recently, where's Marty from?
Yeah.
He was there.
Oh, wow.
And he wanted to just shoot everything up front.
Yeah.
And on the break, it was live. On the break, he's like, what's back there? I was like, well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. He walks back there and he goes, whoa. He's like, and number two, the thing I get all the time is how clean my place is.
Yeah.
I'm a neat freak. That's
Okay.
like,
I like that.
How about the hardest conversation you've ever had to have as a business owner?
hardest conversation as a business owner. Two.
Okay.
One of I'm not gonna say names.
Okay,
One
sure.
of my longtime customers. It was an issue. We had a deal.
Yeah.
He paid half up front, half on delivery. Didn't want to do that anymore.
Okay.
So I had to cut him off. I mean, I go by what we shoot our
Right.
hands on, you
Yeah.
know. And his partner was for that. He wasn't for that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, yeah,
It's a tough conversation.
yeah. I had to let him know, like,
Yeah.
that's not what we agreed on. You want this kind of price. You want this kind of volume.
Yeah.
I need a commitment from you. So I need half up front and then half on delivery. And
Right.
I'm not just gonna just because then that's a red flag. Also, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Are you having like issues? You know?
Yeah.
Like, what happens if I don't get my money once I deliver?
Right.
Yeah.
The other one was more of a personal, because at first I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
a personal question.
Yeah.
My grandfather passed exactly a year ago in '95 with Dimitri. That's where I got my name from.
Yeah.
The hardest conversation, if you will, was, when not the day he passed, because he passed in Greece, I was here, but the day when I left from Greece, I went to see him. It was January, just saying goodbye to him.
Yeah.
He was like my mentor for personal and business.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, that was probably
That's
toughest.
gotta be the toughest.
Yeah.
By far. Something you believed early on that turned out to be completely wrong.
That oh man, that's a good one. That everybody wants what's best for you and your product. It's like that's a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you could walk into a kitchen with a chef and they want it, and
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
or even just like a retailer, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about a mistake that cost you a lot more than you expected?
ooh, mistake. Oh yeah, one time we had a little bit of an oil spill in our warehouse. I mean, that's a lot of money. No, we what happened is we imported big that oh olive oil was a ton. It was like 1,000 liters in one single vat.
Sure.
And it just didn't go well.
Oh.
It just because it didn't have a spigot at the bottom,
Yeah.
they didn't put it on.
No.
So it wasn't really our fault. So then what we had to do is we had to manually
I was about to say, how
Get
did
the oil.
how did
We
they
had-
expect you to get it out?
we had to get a hemp pump and everything, and
Really?
it was just it was horrible.
Oh.
It was that cost a lot of money because a lot of it,
Yeah.
was
Floor.
wasted. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Final question. If this all disappeared tomorrow, what would you do next?
Do it all over again.
Okay.
Nice.
He loves the olives, folks. He
right,
loves the
folks.
olives. He can't get away from it. All right, Dimitri, what's next for Dmitri Olive Oil?
Next for Dmitri Olive Oil, expansion.
Okay.
Within our limits.
Sure.
Again, we're a really small company. I thank every single person buying a small bottle of olive oil and a restaurant buying a pallet. I treat them the same.
Yeah.
But what I would like for Dmitri Olive Oil next is to grow it where I can pass it down to my 2 daughters, and I wouldn't have to make them work as hard as I did. And I mean that in a good way. I want them to be hard workers,
Yeah.
but I want them to work smarter,
Yeah.
not harder.
Yeah. So Penelope and
Theodora.
Theodora.
Yep.
Love it. A girl dad
Yep.
running an olive company. I love it. Where can everyone find you?
9 West Ellsbury Road, Suite L, like Larry,
Yeah.
next to Baltimore Coffee and Jeppy Nut. You can also find us online at dimitrioliveoil.com. You can find us at the local farmers markets, Maryland, DC, and Virginia. They're all listed on our website. And of course, Dmitri Olive Oil on Instagram and Facebook.
I love it. Folks, simple product on the surface, but a great reminder that execution, discipline, and attention to detail are what actually build a real business. We thank you, Dimitri, for being on.
Thank you for your time.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Thank you
Great
so
business.
much. I really appreciate you guys for your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.